We also have the ability in QuickBooks to customize our lists presentation. And the default in QuickBooks is set to show the parent accounts as well as the sub accounts. And so if you don't like that view and you only want the sub accounts present, we can change those default settings to only have that show up. And so I will click over and do that. Okay, so we go over here to our preferences. And to our accounting tab. Of course, it's alphabetical at the top. And then our company preferences. And so if we only want to show these and not the parent accounts as well, we would make sure that that box is checked. Now, sometimes you'll discover that two people have inadvertently created the same customer or the same vendor and are now separately entering transactions. And it would be a real pain in the neck to have to basically manually re-enter all of the transactions into one of those accounts and delete the other one. So QuickBooks has a way where you can merge those two accounts together and not have to do the data entry. So we would do that in the chart of accounts. We would select the account that we want to merge and then edit. And then in the account number field, we can instruct it to merge. It will tell us, hey, we are going to do this. Do you still want to do it? You, of course, say yes, and you close your chart of accounts. And I don't happen to have any duplicate accounts, and I don't want to mess up my base company file. I will, if you have questions about how to do this, then shoot me an email and we'll go over this in greater depth. We have touched on the issue of custom fields as we have covered each of the modules, the center, the vendor center, the employee center, that has this ability to create some custom fields. And not only can we create custom fields, but within the customer or vendor or employee center, whatever you happen to be in, it allows you to sort by those custom fields. And so that I will go over and show you. Okay, so we'll take our, I don't know, vendor center. And even after restarting my computer, this is still geeky. Okay, so we've got Computer Town, and we'll go ahead and just double click. And yay, okay. So here we have the ability to create our custom fields, and we can define these fields. We can call it anything we want. And so it doesn't matter. We could call it blue team. I don't know. I'm just coming up for something. And so the question becomes then whether this is something that applies under the customer, the vendor, or the employee center as a field that will show up. Just because we happen to be creating it in the vendor center doesn't mean that it is exclusive to that, you know, can only be there or and it can't be used other places. So we can actually use it for, you know, we'll use it for customer and vendor just for kicks. I don't know. And so I threw something in blue team, probably not the best example, but That's what you get on flying by the seat of my pants here. So we could enter team. Yes, no. So there I did a sort on a custom filter that I had created for yes in the blue team. And so again, not a super great example of how you could use this. There are probably much more practical examples, but that gives you the idea of how to create a custom field and then how to filter and search based on that custom field, which again, we did it in the vendor center, but we could have done that in the employee center or in the customer center as well. Well, QuickBooks provides us with a number of really useful templates. It also allows us the ability to customize those templates. And in this example, we'll talk about customizing an invoice that will more suit the appearance and information that we want as a company to send to our customers. And so invoices, QuickBooks gives us a standard product invoice and a standard service invoice. And so we use the estimate to then customize our own invoice. And so what we of course want to do before we do anything like this is that we want to make a copy of it, because we might actually someday want the original template again. And so we will make sure that we've used the copy and preserve the template when we're making those changes. Whoops. And so I'm going to go over to the library and we will create this. And so in order to do that, we'll go to our customer center and our create invoices. Sorry, this is so pokey today and I'm not sure why that is. I'll actually just pull this open. And so the first thing that we want to do is we want to select our invoice that we want to use as the base template and then make the copy. The product invoice was the invoice that was open last, so that's what it opened to this time. We want to go over to the formatting tab. Product invoice is what's highlighted, but I can select really any of these. And we will choose copy. And now we've got copy of. We can call it something else. There we go. We can okay, and now it allows us, now we see that we're working with my template and not the main product template that Intuit provided to us. And now we can make all kinds of changes to this. We can put colors in, we can change the font, we could put in a company logo, we can print past due, if we want to use this as our past due invoice, for example. And then it will allow us to do a print preview so that we don't waste a lot of paper or ink or toner or whatever we're using. And we can change the fonts for only certain kinds of things. So for example, if you want all of your labels for the fields bolded or something, you can, or you know, a different font for those, you can select a specific font for those items. And you can also do a consistent design across multiple forms, but still maintain, so you would have basically the same parent design, but then you can kind of adjust each individualized one so that the data that shows up on the individual invoice templates is consistent with that template, but that the overall format, sort of a style type thing, is the same. So that all of your invoices look the same, and it doesn't look like the invoice customized by Susie is from a different company than the invoice customized by Sally, even though they both work in, adjoining cubicles or something. QuickBooks also provides us with the ability to have template letters. So if we're using collection letters or welcome letters or some sort of correspondence that we use pretty routinely, we can use QuickBooks for that, and QuickBooks will populate the information that we need into those fields. And you have to have Microsoft Word, which all of you have, on your computer in order for this to work, because that's kind of the plugin that is facilitating that document generator. And so why use a template? Why not just, insert new information into, manually, and just change it and save it for the next client? And the answer is sometimes people don't change all of the fields. And I have seen correspondence come into my office where that was clearly done, where you might have had the correct address up here, but instead of being addressed to me, it was addressed to Dear Attorney Smith. And what happened was the attorney who had their support staff generate that letter, either Attorney Smith, or the attorney who generated it was too busy to proofread it correctly before they signed it, or they didn't see it at all, and it was just such a standard form thing that they assumed that their support staff would accurately do this. And as I have discovered, that's not something you can always rely on. So if you have these templates set up to merge automatically with the correct customer or client information in it, it reduces the amount of proofreading that somebody else needs to do and increases the accuracy of the documents. And so you can have, and I have actually entire programs dedicated to just this feature so that I can do some deep customization on them. And it really allowed me to have support staff do things that were far more advanced than maybe their skills were, because I had programmed this almost a menu driven type data entry for customized documents. But that's beyond what you're going to be doing today. So to create our letters, you're going to click the company and then prepare letters, and you can also do the envelopes as well. And so we will do, and so here we are, company menu, and we go down to prepare letters. So they've got some standard letters that we can use here, or we can customize the letter template, whatever suits you. So we'll do customer letters. And here, lo and behold, are all our customers. So as long as we set them up correctly, this will pull the data, the correct data, over into the letter to make sure that we don't misspell somebody's name or something like that. People tend to be. And this will also allow us to do batches of them, so we can do as many as we've got checked off here, or we can just do one. But and so basically we could use the mark all, unmark all, them individually. So we'll just do one. And so this is the template that we'll just do bounce check just for fun. Or we could do create or edit a template here. And so we're going to have a signature field. So now it's going to open up Microsoft Word, And I'm going to just pause this so you don't have to wait. And so, of course, it decides it's going to stop responding. Okay, here we go. And so it did open up the letter. And so it gave me a little error message that said that they have some missing information in here, and make sure to enter that. And so, not sure exactly, been a miscoded field in the template. But anyway, it pre-populated my information here. So this is helpful if you have different people who will be signing these letters. And so back at the QuickBooks menu, it says to print envelopes, not print envelopes, print the letters. So we'll just click next. And this gives us our return address here, which we can change or use not to print. I happen to have a PDF printer selected, which is my default printer on this computer, but that's something I would have wanted to have changed in the, and it may not let me do this with this window open. So anyway, make sure that you set up your default printer to that paper will actually come out of, as opposed to a PDF printer, before you go into this function. And so I'm actually pretty long on this video, so I'm going to stop here and go on to the next video for customizing reports.